Happy full moon in Sagittarius, lunar eclipse. The energy is super big. Um, there's a lot of things going on in the sky with it, primarily around, I believe it's the great attractor. Um, so even though full moons are typically known for release, at this halfway point between Venus retrograde, I'm really feeling like blessings being called into us, okay? Papa Gord, this masculine lunar energy is balanced, it is self-assured, it is infusing us with a feeling of self-respect, purpose, trusting ourselves, keeping promises to ourselves. This is what a building up the healthy masculine within ourselves feels like. Pride in our work. I'm not going to take it. Woo. That is too many. One card at a time, please, Spirit, as the messages come. The Sun. Reparenting ourselves, recognizing the power of the journey that we're on, of healing our inner child, freeing our inner child, and knowing that we are safe. We are safe within ourselves. Understanding our emotions in a much more powerful way, because we aren't necessarily being so reactionary. We're able to anticipate how something will make us feel, which will in turn help us create better boundaries. Protecting and shielding our mind. Energetic protection is definitely recommended right now. Her crown is shielded by the light of the sun, this golden light. Spending as much time in the sun as possible, walking, just spending time in the sunlight, connecting to that energy. The Nine of Blades. This is what we're protecting ourselves from. The doubt and the fear and the anxiety that is trying to come up and sabotage the works of our hands, the things we're dreaming of. How do we acknowledge those anxieties and those fears and the external chaos that's happening with the uprising and not internalize it? Because as it's coming up for us and our purpose is being made more clear by way of this Sun card, how we're supposed to show up, what our passions are, how do we see the chaos and know how to respond without becoming chaotic internally? How do we witness suffering and hold space for our reactions, our emotions, our grief, how do we better process and respond to trauma, collective trauma? Five of Swords and grief, literally grief. And I was feeling that. How do we release this grief? Temperance. This is the Sagittarius energy. Underneath that is Justice. And underneath that is Mama Coin. The cause for justice the right order that is unfolding, the return to order. This is our charge to show up as this, as balance, and actually as angels. How do we serve the collective? How do we show up clear-hearted, with a pure heart, ready to do our part as order is being restored? How do we make this transition be easier and more graceful for those who are in our lives, for the collective? A lot of our purpose is being reoriented to helping folks manage this. The chaos and the grief. We are the light. So first and foremost, we do have to take care of ourselves and protect ourselves from the outside noise. And by noise, I don't mean people's response and movement, right? Like defending Black lives, calling for protection of the earth. That's not the chaos, actually. People are protesting, people are doing their work. I'm not categorizing or suggesting that that is noise. That is necessary in the quest and the fight for justice. That is supported by the earth. It's actually, like I said, it's necessary. Yep. Underneath that is the Ace of Blades. Underneath that is the Wheel of Fortune. This is the time of increased passion to bring about change. But the message from this full moon in Sagittarius, by way of this Temperance card, is to realize that we are the light, the people who I'm speaking to. We have to keep ourselves balanced, emotionally stable and sound, as we really process. We're not transmuting grief. Spirit is doing that and providing support for that. The earth is doing that. So we do that by giving our burdens and cares to Spirit, laying at the altar, going out to nature, making offerings, connecting with the elements, the earth and water where possible. Let me get more on the Nine of Blades and the Five of Swords and what we are to do. Because it really, yes, we need to make sure we're engaging social media in a healthy way. We need to eliminate distractions and listen for the clear instructions, thank you, Spirit, on what our role is, on what our assignment is, because this is our role. And the answers are within us. The answers are in our heart. This is shielded. This is a breastplate protecting the heart, but the heart is still clear. So not taking on this grief. Like we're already feeling the grief. We are in ourselves need to release it. But we don't need to, we have to protect our heart, because a lot of us have already processed a lot of this grief. A lot of us have already made it out. of our dark night of the soul. This is a collective dark night of the soul, but as keepers of the light, as light workers, as those of us who have been going on a spiritual journey to awaken, we have already gone through this, probably more than once. This is not just about what we're seeing, what we're experiencing on a global scale of a reckoning about racial injustice. This is also, in addition to, this is spiritual awakening. And so with that comes ego death. With that comes really the mind being at war with itself, fighting what it used to believe, realizing that certain things are not true, having to let go our connections and our relationships to multiple organizations, to all different types of people. And that is what everybody is processing right now. And it's heavy. So that is what we're shielding ourselves from, being open and compassionate and bearing witness to it. But that's it. We're not sacrificing ourselves or trying to hold other people's pain because it has to be processed. Healers don't do that. Some do, and then they burn out. You don't transmute the work. Transmute the hurt, transmute the grief. The work, rather, is to support and provide a container for that person to do it themselves, or to call on spiritual assistance and connect them with that assistance or technologies that will help them heal. But let's get more. Ace of Air, Baba Larisha, Undines and Mermaids, Eshu. We are at a crossroads of healing, of mass healing. And so what we can do to support is, one, either pointing people in the right direction as they're coming to us or expressing confusion or expressing hurt, expressing fear. We can refer them to people who we know that can support them. We can offer spiritual advice or guidance if that is your role. Referring people to therapy. We can pray. The power of prayer is extremely important because our prayers are being heard. In the email that I sent about the June messages, like letting you guys know June messages were up, I was like, you have very specific gifts. The words you say, the things you do have the power to affect change. And this is the path we're now going down, is embracing our spiritual power, embracing our ability to make change through our words, because our words matter. This is also Gemini energy, the magician, and that's what we're in now. We're moving into Cancer soon, but we are really needing to reckon with how we don't actually use the technology that we already have of prayer, of connection to spirit, and that's opening up for us. Our intuitive gifts are opening up for us. We need to battle this energy of confusion, of grief, of overwhelm through energetic protection. I really feel whether that is white or black candles. I'm feeling white for whatever reason for this full moon. Usually a black candle is used for protection, but using a white candle or a prayer candle to purify, set the intention for your thoughts to be purified. Any concerns or anything that you're afraid of, to pray protection over that, and so that you will stop feeding into that fear. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, So a lot of this fear and what's coming up in your subconscious, if it's not just about the external chaos and it's internal, it's about you shining your light and stepping out into what's new, what's opening for you, which is your purpose and your new role and assignment to be this balanced person, to be this light shower, way shower, in some terms, but the risk, you feel like there's a risk involved. So let's get guidance on that, because that is what you're letting go of. You're letting go of self-sabotage as you're crowning yourself with this new sense of bravery, as you're taking the chance, as you're betting on yourself. This is what's coming up. This is why some relationships didn't make it. Two of Cups represented here is having to be let go of, because what they actually did, and I talked about this in the daily flow today, it's Thursday as I'm recording this, is it's very clear to us why certain connections had to go, because they kept us playing small and they fed into our insecurities. They fed into our they don't want to say insecurities or something else. They fed into our fear. They fed into our lies. They fed into our false beliefs about what it is that we deserve. They were also in this energy, and you may have been taking on their fears, their beliefs, if they weren't even necessarily yours. And so you were becoming collateral damage to their world, to their limitations. Ooh. To the mess that they were making of their life, of the mishandling of their opportunities, of the mishandling or misappropriation or the misuse of their power. And you were going to become collateral damage or direct damage. And so thanking your guides, your angels, your ancestors for this new opportunity to heal. To write a new story. Written affirmations are also helpful on this full moon. And when we talk about an eclipse, we talk about, and full moons, this is revelations, this is ending. So I want more on what that could be. That might be bringing up for us. Of course, you can also watch your video if you haven't already for your sign. We got the 10 of Air and the 2 of Cups in the Village at the bottom. Definitely the final chapter, the closing of these soulmate connections. But it feels like karma being cleared. We got the 4 of Fire, the Ace of Fire. It's more of this fire energy, karma and Oba. I talked about this feelings of insecurities. This feels like the awakening of the goddess in you, of the divine in yourself. Whereas these connections were keeping you really in the dark. Maybe it wasn't them being intentionally harmful to you, but more so you felt like you were in their shadow, or you always had something to prove, or being around them always made you second guess yourself or doubt yourself, but it feels like self-sabotage and self-harm to be in connection. And so the karma that's being cleared through this eclipse is really what it feels like, gives you a new opportunity to live and to serve in your power. And again, it may not have even been anything intentional. It also legitimately feels like a lot of these connections were playing out old timelines from past lives. And that had to end now that you become more spiritually aware. That's the bigger perspective that you're being called to see. That it may not have been anything intentional to harm you. It was just a pattern being played out, and you had to either one, decide to remove yourself for the situation, or it was decided for you because you're on a new path, you're on a new timeline, you're going on a new trajectory. So it's time now, with the energy and the instruction of this new moon, to accept your power, accept your authority, walk and move boldly with your new collective that's coming together, your new soul family, and accept your leadership role, accept your responsibility to care for the people, whether that's in a work context, whether that's in a family context. You are definitely leading the way. There is a call to accept your own personal authority, and we're all leaders in our own right, because this is our life, this is our soul journey, and this is you taking back the power to direct your life, to be in co-creation with the divine. And it also feels like an opportunity to get it right, whereas in these previous lifetimes or these previous timelines, even if they're patterns in this lifetime, to break free from that fear, from that, I don't even want to tap into this, but it just feels like having control over your mind, whereas there's a lot of manipulation, emotional manipulation, mind games. It just feels like abuse, and breaking free from the abuse. Breaking free from whether it feels like even spiritual something that convinced you that you were less than, and that's been broken off of you. Something that benefited from you being broken down, broken and low in spirit. And that's for the collective as well, right? So let's actually just get closing guidance from the full moon in Sagittarius. 2 of Cups, Queen of Swords, the Sun again, the Emperor, 7 of Wands, which is about our personal power, the Lovers underneath that, Queen of Discs. This is great. This is the reclamation of our personal power, but in love and in truth. For the Emperor, we're in a 4-year. This is love with boundaries. This is a return to innocence, a return to purpose, putting a structure to and putting us in a trajectory to our soul purpose, but crafting the appropriate systems and boundaries where love can thrive, whether that's in our relationships. Now that we're free from those unhealthy relationships, being very, very clear about what it is that we want and need from relationships of all kinds. This is about being true to ourselves, true to what we need, protecting our innocence, protecting our heart, taking risks by doing the things that we love. Stop denying that we're good at certain things by putting a structure, telling the world, communicating who we are, what it is that we're here to do. Prince of Cups, the Hangman, Eight of Cups. See, we have the Prince and Princess here. Coming into balance with our emotions, being mature, operating from a healed place, knowing that we don't have to sacrifice ourselves anymore in the name of love, in the name of peace, in the name of anything. We are not a sacrifice. To live is not a sacrifice. We're here to be bold, to be free, to walk in our purpose, to walk in our power, and we're reclaiming that. So that is our message for this full moon, this eclipse. It really, to be honest, feels gentle. Now, for the world at large, there will definitely be upheaval. There will be grief. There will be revelation and light shined on some things, and that's to come over the next two eclipses. There's a lot of truth telling and revelation, but your power and your purpose is to focus on what you're creating for this new earth. This is both aces. This is new beginnings, particularly in work. Seven of Pentacles, the fairies and the sylphs, and the 10 of Pentacles. This is about putting you in the right alignment for your soul's work and your soul's purpose. So that is your message. Love you, love you, love you. If you want to book a personal reading, you can do that on the Overflow. If you're watching on the overflow.com, here on the website. And yeah, I love you guys. Bye.